Thanks for tuning in, and today I want to talk about a new multi-tool from a company called Bibury or Bibury. I'm not really sure how to pronounce that, but before I talk about it, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to help support my channel. I'd really appreciate it. Now, before I begin, I want to let you know that Bibury sent this to me to try out and showcase for you guys, so thanks to them. And I've really been having a great time testing this out. Also, if you click the link below, I believe there's still a 20% discount on this. So if you click that coupon, it'll bring it down to a little above $20 from the normal $26. So this is a great multi-tool for that price. There's a lot of great features on this, which I want to go over with you right now. To begin with, I actually want to start with all the tools on the outside, and I'll get to the scissors in just a second. But all the tools are on the outside. There's no tools on the inside. And what I like about this particular tool that it uses a number 24 scalpel blade. Now, this is great for making shallow and precise cuts. It's not like your traditional knife because you can actually remove the blade. It actually comes with a couple extras in the box, so if it does break or goes dull, you can swap it out pretty easily. The other thing is when you take it off, now you can travel with this safely. Not sure if it would go through TSA because it does have some other tools that have sharp edges, but you could also, if you're putting together an EDC kit for kids or someone who's a little bit more inexperienced, you can just give this to them now and they don't have access to a longer blade or a longer edge that they can use to cut themselves with. So that's awesome. The fact that it uses this type of scalpel blade instead of just a regular knife. Does, like I said, have some tools that have sharper edges, like this package opener. You've also got a nail file right here that you can file your nails with or other small objects. And then on the other side, you've got some other more emergency type tools like the strap cutter, good for cutting a seatbelt or some rope, and then a glass breaker on the other side as well. The thing that I wish they would have included is the fact that it doesn't lock into place, but the detent is pretty strong. So I don't have too much of a concern that these tools will fall or close in on you while you're using them, but it would have been nice to see the inclusion of a lock for all these tools. Lastly, final thing on the outside is the inclusion of a small pair of tweezers. And I really like these tweezers. They're very thick and have a good springing action. And when you're done, you just kind of put them right back in here. I think I put them in the wrong way. Just like this in this little hole right here. Now there's actually another hole right there. I don't know if they could have put a toothpick in there, but right now it just comes with tweezers. Now opening up the tool, you see that we've got a really nice pair of scissors. And so this is, according to the box, a Keychain Rescue Multitool. There's the model number. There is another variation that comes with a regular set of pliers. That is just more of a general purpose. Everything else is the same, but it comes with pliers and a pocket clip instead of the scissors. This one does not have a pocket clip. So this is great to add to a first aid or trauma kit or just in your car for emergencies. As you can tell, these scissors on the bottom have a serrated edge, and then it's got this little nub, and that's good for, if you're an EMT, you know that this is good for if you're cutting near the skin. This isn't going to puncture or bruise the skin while you're cutting off like a piece of clothing to apply some first aid. So I'm just going to demonstrate how ridiculously sharp these scissors are. And I have some paracord. Let's start with that. And so I don't have to apply that much pressure. It's spring loaded, which is nice. And so you can just see, again, just light pressure. I cut through paracord very easily. And look how clean the cuts are. I don't even have to burn the ends. Also, I have some fabric here. Since these are good for softer materials, I thought I would just demonstrate on a scrap piece of fabric. And so it just cuts through the fabric very easily. No problems at all. So again, if you wanted to cut off some clothing to get to a wound or something like that in an emergency situation, that's what these are good for. You could probably cut a very thin piece of metal, but really don't want to be cutting thicker materials or hard materials. Just stick with the softer material so you don't damage the scissors, and so you have them available when you need it. Now I just want to go over some of the things that I noticed that could be improved, some suggestions that I have for Bibury. I'm not sure if they're going to update this multi-tool or not in the future or come out with a new version. But one of the things when you first pick it up is that this multi-tool, for its size, it's about the same size as the SOG Power Pint, if you're familiar with that, is very dense. It's not necessarily heavy, but it's just very dense. And I'll show you what I'm talking about right here. So I have my little scale here. And this comes in at right about a little under 5.5 ounces. To give you a comparison to my vintage Leatherman right here. This one actually, even though it's longer and bigger, comes in at a little under 5.2 ounces. And then I have this vintage Sheffield as well. This is truly a keychain multi-tool. And that obviously is going to be very light at a little less than 2 ounces. And just give you a size reference, I'm just going to line these up right here. And even though it's kind of right in between the Leatherman and the Sheffield, this comes in as the heaviest. And I think that's because it is the thickest out of all three, even the Leatherman. So you can see this is by far the thickest out of all three by quite a big margin. So I think that's where some of the weight comes in, which was surprising because even if you look on the inside, they did mill out the liners, you can see. And so I thought that would reduce some of the weight, but apparently, I don't know if it's just because it's all stainless steel. You can see because of that, it's a fingerprint magnet as well. So you'll have to wipe this down a lot. But that's the first thing that you'll probably notice when you pick this multi-tool up. Lastly, I just want to talk about some quality control or refinement issues that I kind of ran into or just kind of noticed. As you can see, I forgot to mention, there's actually a little hole here where you can actually attach a lanyard if you want to, or maybe even attach it to a key ring. But again, because of the size and especially the weight, I don't know if this would really be something that I would carry on my keychain, but you definitely could using this right here. But what you can tell, or I don't know if you can tell or not, but let me just put this blade back in because that's going to demonstrate this a little bit better. And let me just put that back in real quick. All right, so when all the tools are folded down, you can see actually the tools stick out past the width of the frame right here. And so you can actually feel that if you run your fingers across it. And that's true of almost all the other tools. So you can see it just juts out slightly. Even the glass breaker right here, the arm is just a little bit longer or wider than the frame or the scales. And that little lanyard hole, that little nub just sticks right out. It's great to have access to it like that, but I think it would have been nicer if everything sit flush. And even the glass breaker, you can see it juts out this way even. So you can actually feel that when everything's closed. I think they could have done a little bit more with the frame so that, like I just said, it sits flush, and it would have just provided a better experience when you're carrying this, especially if you're going to carry this as an EDC item. So that's one thing. And the next thing, or one of the last things I want to mention is that, let me just close it back up, is you look at, for instance, the package opener. You look at closely, the grind on this is not the best. You've got some rough edges right here. I have used this, opened 2 or 3 packages, but it's a little bit rough, and so they could have polished that down a little bit more. Same thing with the hook cutter. I actually saw that when I first got this, there was some small metal filings still stuck on there. Obviously, as you use the tool, it kind of just removed them, like automatically or just over time. And so that's why you don't see them right now, because I tested this out on different packages and things like that. So, but I just wish that they would have just paid attention to some of these little issues. But for $20 or $26, that's the original price, but with the discount, you're going to get it for around $20. You have to expect that you're going to run into some of these issues. Hopefully yours, if you order one, won't have some of these issues, but it's just something to keep in mind. But overall, even with those things I just mentioned, I actually really like this multi-tool. I've been carrying this for about 2 weeks now and testing it. And those issues aside, I really think this is a great multi-tool for the reasons I just described. I love the scissors, love the fact that you have the removable blade, and great for emergencies. And the scissors especially, I just really love the scissors. I would have liked to try the one with the pliers and the pocket clip. And I wish hopefully in the future, my biggest thing would be that they bring the weight down somehow. So let me know what you think of this in the comments below, and until the next video, God bless.